focused on some of the outcomes of the workshop-based exercise we had done the previous time. And I know that the workshop was a lot of excitement and energy and everything else. And some of that became visible in the stuff we saw last time. So I'm just looking at the program. It looks to me like we have more progress on that work which was kicked off in the workshop. So I know that a substantial part of the time today is going on that.
So today I thought I will cover a topic, a very high-level introduction of something which is very relevant to us, because as part of these technology initiatives, a lot of faculty members are exploring more and more open content available on the web and then using them into our own classroom. Also, many of us are creating our own content and we want to put it as an open content on the web, and then we don't know how will it be used, what are the licensing implications and all that. So though it's a high-level introduction, but at least it will give you an idea of what can happen and what should be considered. So today, if you start looking for open content, there are a lot of open courseware sites, MOOCs, YouTube, SlideShare, and millions of other sites which are available. And most of the time, we don't know what is open and what is copyrighted. And there are lots of shades of grey in between open and copyrighted. So either some all rights reserved or some rights reserved. And it does not only apply to educational content, it applies to all kinds of creative content, which can be music, pictures, videos, etc. etc. So there is an initiative taken by a company called Creative Commons. Now what this company does, it's a non-profit organization from US, and they have released several copyright licenses known as Creative Commons licenses, free of charge, and they are very easy to understand, so that school teachers, university teachers, or any person who is creating and posting content can use these licenses. Now what they do is, it helps you communicate. So when you are posting a content on YouTube or SlideShare or whatever, then how much rights do you want to give to anybody else, that what can they do with your content? And can they copy the whole thing? Can they comment on it? Can they integrate your content into their own content or whatever? So these kind of issues are covered in these licenses. Now, if you look at total, there are 6 types of licenses which I will try to cover quickly. What do they mean? Okay. CC is the logo of the Creative Commons, and then each of the 6 licenses have actually 4 symbols and a combination of those 4 symbols. Okay. And these are the 4 symbols that we need to understand. The first one is by, which means who has created this. So that means whenever you use any open content, you are supposed to attribute that it has come from that source. Okay. That is the first, and this thing is common in all 6 licenses. So whenever you use, now whether it is mentioned it is licensed or not licensed, this is the first and foremost important thing. The second symbol is an equal sign, which means no derivative work. That means when you use this content which has been licensed under ND, no derivatives license, you can integrate it into your course, but you cannot alter it. For example, you cannot change audio, or you cannot slice it or change the meaning or something. That is the thing. Third one is share alike, which means that if you use that content and then use it inside your content, you should share your, and if you share your content with others, it has to be the same license which original person has given. So that is the combination that it has to be. So I will come to the explanation. And fourth one is non-commercial, which is very self-explanatory. That if you use that piece of content, you cannot use it as part of a commercial product. Okay. So,
morning everyone. In this presentation, I will share my experience of use of technology in education when I conducted the course of namely analog electronics in the last semester. I hope you will be able to recognize after this presentation that all 4 dimensions of the project that we are discussing here in this forum will get covered in the duration of this particular course. So to start with, let us try and understand this versatile effect when the faculty is delivering the lecture. Then on the very first day, if the student is mentally present in the class, then she will learn almost all the things. So the memory shoots up here, but in the absence of the revision, then it goes down, and then after say 1 month or so, if you ask the same question to again to a student, then he's lost somewhere. What the student should do then, the student should memorize the things and again go for some sort of revision for say 8 to 10 minutes and then 5 minutes for the next week, and then after one month or so, it requires only 2 or 3 minutes to revise the things, and then the information is there. Now that is old storage. Now what a faculty now can do as far as the use of technology in education, so that the student need not to memorize the things and need not to revise the things for continuous 1 month or so. And so again using the technology here. But see, what I had done in this particular course is rather than blindly going for I use this technology or that technology, I had done some sort of research in the class, that is identifying the student, what category of the students I am dealing with. In that sense, the students are of video learner, they used to like audio lectures, so they used to like the simulations or so. On one side, I have researched onto what category of the students are. Another, that is what challenges as a faculty I am going to face in the class. So that is what I started with. So that was the first point to start with. That the students are of video learner. There are practical learners who wants to apply the theory. Few students likes to go for some sort of simulation in the class, and then there are self-learners are also available which do not require any sort of technology. They will learn whatever you teach them. So those were about the different students available in the class, and then comes to the challenges for the faculty. Now the challenges are the first one is poor attendance in the class. Second one is like grasping power is very low. Sometimes it happens that you deliver, but the students are not able to cope up with the speed. And the third point is like a poor basic concept. So if the course is coming up, suppose analog electronics, I'm talking it goes in sequence with the electrical circuits, and then if the students are not performing well in that particular course, then analog electronics is again very difficult to understand. So these were the challenges for the faculty, for the students, and then comes how I can use the technology here. So that is for effective learning. There are 2 areas I have covered. That is one, technology in teaching learning process, and another one is continuous evaluation, in which the evaluation goes online and other kind of exams. So to start with technology in teaching learning, here comes the digital devices, the one dimension of this project work. So this in this I utilize the active board available in the university, and so see, consider a switch here. Okay, this is switch here. Okay, this is S. Now the case will be when S is closed. So let us start with that. Switch is closed. When the switch is closed, this junction will here on this junction the current conduction will be very high due to the forward biasing due to this supply, and this junction is forward bias. So what I used to do in the class, this is sort of flip class kind of concept in which I used to give the video lecture.
Next we have some experience sharing of how did economics course use the online quiz for the midterm. Guren and Harish used that. So they want to share experience on how did it help, what were the preparations.
Morning to all. We took this online assessment in BTech first and second semester. This was written to test, and there were 2 of the students. So for this online assessment, we prepared 2 sets because for 240 students there are is to the left, so two sets were prepared and there were 20 MCQ of 2 mark each and 4 descriptive questions of 5 mark each. This assignment was for 45 duration, 45 minutes was set for the examination and this 45 minutes we distributed 20 minutes for MCQ, 1 minute for each question and then 5 minutes for each descriptive question, 20 minutes for the descriptive answers and of course we kept 5 minutes for as a result. So total 45 minutes were distributed for this exam. And 40 marks was 60, but this 60% was converted to the 15% because as per the course handout plan, and 50 was for 15%. So 60% was converted to 15%. So this is the MCQ results, only 20 questions, 2 marks each out of 40. So students, it's like our normal distributions. So the idea behind this setting of the question was that there should be 20% questions which every student can attempt on an average, and then there should be no questions which only intelligent students can attempt, say 15 to 20% answer, and then there are almost 70-80% questions which almost like average class represent. So when we got this result after the examinations, we checked around the evaluation pattern that yes, the questions we set were going on the right direction. But along with the MCQ, we set some descriptive questions also. There were 2-3 reasons. First reason was students should not guess that okay, that option A or option C is the right mark. To cross check that, along with MCQ, we set up some descriptive question. And number 2, we know very well that there are some students who are good at MCQ, but to check the analyzing skills, explanation skills, how students are writing the answer, in which way students is going on. That are the second reasons we thought that okay, we should give descriptive questions also. So once we include MCQ and as well as descriptive questions, this was the overall result out of 60 marks. Again, the result was almost a normal distribution. So the idea was so that all the class should be performed in such a way that the class should be distributed in normal way. That 20% on that way and the 30% on the right way, and the average 60-70% should be in the right way. So our overall experience was that if we can include MCQ and descriptive both, that will give more valuable rather than having only descriptive or MCQ.
Good morning. So there is with respect to digital devices, and I have restricted to this audio video devices for effective teaching learning. These are objective of the project as to accelerate technology devices so that they can make students learn effectively and efficiently. Other dimension that to strengthen the usage of technology devices by mutually learning from during using the class. Our learning in fact right from Anul and and ultimately to link this at the level of education technology to realize the overall mission of the university. 2 devices are identified. One is that is podcast and another is video. In podcast, I had preliminary training that was conducted by the university here. I have created one and I have not used them substantially. I used only one this term which ended in April. But I am going to use them in the next term starting in July. Same cases for video, that I have been using videos in the class, but which I have not done so far. In this slide you see that I have not been able to edit them and say incorporate my part into it. Actually, I was inspired by when I was attending a course by Professor Pankaj Himawat on globalized enterprises. So wherein he came with these slides and in between he came with his own video created at a certain place, let's say headquarters of WT and so on. So that was very interesting and I found very interesting. So I thought I should develop that thing for my students.
I am Pranav and I will be presenting on how simulation can be used as a pedagogical tool in teaching certain management courses. Specifically, I will focus on the marketing course. And in my team, in the digital devices, so we, there are members like namely Kapil, Panda, Student Marketing Groups, etc. And we finalized tools like business simulation and different software packages available to to train ourselves and to train peers also. It may be possible that we have those softwares with us, but we could not use effectively. Few of us were using, but most of us we are not using those tools. So why not to focus on the training on those softwares and to make the teaching learning process, that is the objective of this workshop, to make the teaching learning process more effective. So I will talk about my experience in marketing management courses specifically. So when I started my course, marketing management, first time in FNB, that financial banking that I was here. So one of the students raised his hand and he told that, look sir, I was from beverage industry and I was number 1 seller from last 2 years. I had a certificate for the same. You tell me after going through this course, what value will add to me? Will I become the international number 1 seller? And I was not expecting actually this kind of question. So definitely I thought back and I answered him that, look my dear friends, it may be possible that I will not make you number 1 seller internationally, but it may be possible that I will give you a framework for analysis. And the kind of role you are getting into after doing this course, it may be that you will have certain tools, certain framework on which you can put your situation and get certain analysis, or you will come out of that situation with certain good answer or certain good options of the answer. So I thought of that what I should include in my teaching learning process that will make them feel like that.
Good afternoon everyone. I am focusing on making the video content for the chemistry lab. And why I am making these videos? To understand the standard operating procedure of the chemistry, whatever the student like the student coming in the class, and then if we ask them to perform an experiment, then we just show them the SOP. So sometimes they don't understand what is the correct process just by reading the SOP. Then selection of glassware. Instead of using a conical, they sometimes start using the beaker. Okay, and safety precautions. As well as text-based SOP is also not very effective to make them understand, okay, this is the process and you have to add the reactant accordingly. Second thing, the less videos are available in the other open source content. Like in my case, I am giving them the demo in the large number, like because the space is limited, so I can only give the demo to 2 or 3 students in one time. So it's very tough to give the demo. So let's see the example, like synthesis of picric acid for phenol. I searched a lot of videos, but I only found 3 videos, 2 from Germany and 1 from Vietnam. And then video quality was not good. Of course, the sequence of their addition also is not correct according to the mechanism of this reaction. So if I show this SOP to my student, of course they can understand, okay, they have to add phenol, sulfuric acid and then go through the up to end. But they don't know if they add excess amount of reactant, or when they add the reagent, two reagents, and what will happen, what type of color change happen during the reaction. So I asked them to my student, I asked my student to prepare the video so that of course they can also understand, and of course I can use that video for the next class. So my other student can easily understand. If you want to. Yes.
This is students are making it.
Yeah.
Today's presentation I had on very clear, much higher level of either engagement in the class, whether it's a marketing exercise being done or a lab and fumes are coming out, or even I think the excitement of the person presenting. So this seems to me is an important point. So quite clearly we now need to say that this level of science is not only built, but we have to now putting it into a more sustainable and solid movement. What do I mean by that? There are sporadic, enjoyable experiments which are generating curiosity, interest, excitement. Now it has to be put on a path where we should be able to say, okay, today it is out of 30 sessions, in 5 sessions I use 4 minutes. You know, you should now start saying, what's a desirable level? Should it be that out of 1/3 of my classes I should have 20 minutes each? I don't know. Again, by subject, by faculty, whatever. But we may discover that we have, you know, a 5x, 10x increase to do, for example, the extent of coverage. Then we could look at what technology.